right, buddy. Let us know if you can hear us. We're not sure anyone can hear us, but we are live. SEC Media Days, Day 2. Auburn, Georgia, Mississippi State, and Vanderbilt. And about 20 people came by the booth today, didn't they, brother?
Exhausted. I'll exhausted. That's the thing. If you guys aren't on YouTube, you're probably watching this maybe on Twitter or something like that, but be sure to check out our YouTube channel because all the interviews we did today will be uploaded there, and you'll be able to catch them. So it was exciting, but it was exhausting. That's for sure.
Yeah. So we're trying here again. We got the live switcher.
We're just checking. Before we get cranked up and I start sending any good stuff out there, we want to make sure you can hear it. So, and I think we're good, Mike.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, we're switching back and forth, having a good time. This is, like we said, we are a work in progress. It's Shane and I. That's the team. There's people around here, got 8, 9, 10 people. So give us a break here if it's not
Audio
fantastic.
isn't coming through the mics, he said.
Not coming through the mics.
Through the mics.
Oh, which audio isn't coming through the mics. Huh. Well, yesterday we were too loud.
How about that?
How about that? Is it any better? Shane, they said you seem unplugged.
Yeah.
That's one thing. That's for sure. We are unplugged here.
What about now?
Check.
Check. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I can't hear.
What about that?
Check. Any better?
Any better? You sound better. I can hear you now.
Yeah. As long as we can hear each other. You know what?
Nope. He says no. Testing.
How about now?
How about now? Can you hear us now? We can
We're
hear
getting
you,
it now.
but it sounds like, well, try it now because we just switched it over.
I think they got us now. Testing. Y'all should share the mic. We're going to have to do something. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're good.
All right.
We should probably stop screaming.
Too
though.
loud.
Too loud. Too fucking loud. Okay.
What about now?
All right. We're about 5 minutes in. I don't think anyone's heard a damn thing we said. So, Shane, let's kick it over again. SEC Media Days, how you doing? Week 2 recap.
I mean, the way this has started, Mike, I'm telling you, brother, it has been nonstop. Barely left this booth. We've had a lot of great people come over today. We've got four teams today, which we're going to get to. But I'm telling you, brother, it's been a whirlwind. And if I said it earlier, if you've not got on the YouTube channel, be sure to jump on there because every interview that we've done and going to do will be posted up there. So be sure to catch those in the weeks to come.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't you be subscribed, Shane, to a YouTube channel that they don't know if you can hear them or not. They don't know if you can see them or not. They have no idea what's being put on the internet right now, but I think we're good now. So I do apologize for the technical difficulties, but, man, let's talk some Georgia football to start with, Shane.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, them dogs, complacency, that's basically everybody we ask about Georgia this season, that's the only potential hiccup is Georgia. And, hey, we're just living in the dog's world right now. You know what?
That's it. And you're going to hear some comments from Kirby here in a little bit. That was the narrative. It's a new chapter. It's a new team. It's not last year's national champion. It's not the year before. This is year 3. Got to make the name for themselves. And, you know, obviously, Mike, I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a couple lingering questions we had coming to this one as far as media is concerned. We're not going to get into it, but everybody's seen the AJC film, the article,
yeah.
You know, the speeding, things like that. So that felt like that was where they were going to go, but Kirby came out here with a statement, and it's a new year. We got a long road ahead. We can't get complacent, and this schedule's not easy. Okay, as much as we'd like to say it is.
And shout out to our guy, one of our favorites, Chris Marler. He may have asked the question of the day, don't you think? Let's kick it over. Hopefully they can hear this. We've got a clip here. Ask Kirby Smart via Chris Marler.
Hey, Coach. Chris Marler, College Football Uncensored podcast. #1 recruiting class, back-to-back natties, more kids in the league in your first 7 years than any coach in the modern college football era. That being said, with all those accomplishments, is there anything specifically you feel like you can improve on as a coach? And also, before you answer, I don't know who this guy is, but he told me y'all are going 7-5 before she handed me the mic, so you're welcome.
He told you what? I couldn't hear.
Y'all are going 7-5. It was him, not me.
I got you. I still couldn't hear what he said, so I don't even know what he said. It must have been funny. So going back.
7-5, Shane. How about it? Them Georgia
man.
Bulldogs going 7-5.
Golly, he sat down there in Atlanta for 3 days and came up with that one. No, I'm just kidding. No, this again, and Kirby comes out later saying that no one ever really said the 7-5. I don't know if that's true or not, but again, they're looking for any bit of ammunition to use in that locker room because that's what they're going to need. These kids are going to need to be motivated, because if they go out here and say what you want about their schedule, you and I think that it's an easy road to an SEC championship, and it's easy to say don't get complacent. But these kids, on the other hand, they need that ammunition to get through this game to make it. I guess just. You don't want to sleepwalk through the schedule because when you do get to a game like an SEC championship or first, the college. Oh hell, even looking at the schedule, I mean, you got Ole Miss sitting there. Tennessee's been the one they're talking about, but you go to Auburn. Mm-hmm. You got Kentucky. Is one of these teams going to be the one that sneaks up to you? If you're complacent, that's exactly what's going to happen.
Yep. All right, so we got another comment here from old Kirby, Shane. Let's kick it over. That's basically the theme he's got here, complacency. Let's kick it over to Kirby again.
Before I wrap this up, I do want to speak briefly on dealing with the threat of complacency. Everybody here has talked about, is the emphasis on three-peat? Is the emphasis on what are you going to do next? How are you going to top that? How do you top an undefeated season? The threat for us is complacency. The first thing you have to do is acknowledge that it's a threat. Like if you acknowledge that complacency is a threat, it's the first step towards stomping it out. So we look for two things when we look for people to join our organization. I'm not talking about players. I'm talking about anybody in our organization. Do they love football, and do they embrace being part of something bigger than themselves? Are they selfless? So we want to find people who love football and embrace a selfless role. And those two qualities, loving football and embracing being selfless, are not dependent on outcomes. They're not dependent on win or loss. Did I get a sack? Did I touch the ball? That's not what we're looking for, guys that are dependent on outcomes. We want guys that think independent of outcomes. So when you see complacency take over, it's when a team's enthusiasm and ego start worrying about outcomes. That's not what we do at Georgia. That's not what we bring into our place. That's not what we bring into the culture we want to have. We want selfless people who love football, and that's what we build around. This offseason, we've done
Mike, let me ask you, what do you think the recipe is for Georgia here? Because everybody's talking that's been the storyline. Can Georgia win 3 national championships in a row? Something that's never been done. Is this what do you think Kirby and company are going to have to do this year to keep some of these guys dialed in day in, day out?
One thing that everybody's looking at the schedule. They bitch about how easy the schedule is, and yeah, on paper it's easy. But one thing that I think is, I don't know if this is going to hurt. That may be the wrong word, but one thing they don't have, they've had in years past, they had Clemson right out the gate when they won their first championship, and they were the underdogs in that game. So there's all the motivation you need. Last year, losing all these players to the NFL. Neutral site, it was Atlanta, right? But still, Oregon was a top, I think,
right.
20 team, something like that, and they just beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
But that was something to get up for. Ball State, Middle Tennessee, all these jokes of a team. That's the only issue I see is maybe that's where you're getting some of this lack of focus because there's not that central game to get up for. But, you hear it from Kirby there. We've seen it the last couple of years. we can sit here, we can talk about that all we want.
Yeah.
He proved it last year. The team proved it last year. Complacency, at least not last year. I didn't see a complacent team.
Yeah.
They just went undefeated, brother. And it was
Right.
almost like they went, what'd they go, like, I don't know the exact record, but I think it was 13-1 the
Yeah.
year before they won the national championship. They were like, yeah, but we had one. You know, let's get grinding. Let's get a 0.
Right.
And they just did it. So, I mean, I just think it's in the DNA of that program. They come from Alabama, obviously, where they had that in their DNA. So there's literally no one better, Shane, that can copy that blueprint than Kirby Smart. I think they've done it, and that's why everybody's high
Yeah.
on the Dogs. And I think they're going to win the East.
Right.
I think they're going to be undefeated. I think the potential hurdles are in the SEC championship and the playoff, and that's it.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that's going to have to do with the leadership that's in this team. You know, I think we have 3 great individual guys that came up here today, you know, and some of them could have went pro, but they didn't. They wanted to work on their art. They wanted to be the best center in the country. You know, that's the mentality you got to have if you're still climbing that mountain. And I think even though it's crazy, you got 2 national championships under the belt, I still feel like that this team is coming in with that mentality that they're not there yet.
Well, that's because
And that's
it
scary.
starts at the top because it's Kirby, man.
Yeah, Kirby. Don't you, man? Surprised he didn't rip his shirt off when he was doing that speech. But he's a football man, and that's what I like about Kirby is just he'll have you running through a brick wall. We've all heard the halftime speeches and the pregame speeches.
Yep.
He not only does he say the right stuff at this podium, but he's saying the right stuff to these 20, 21, 22-year-olds there in the locker room.
But I think maybe what you wanted me to go with, Shane, here. We got this clip. You want me to play it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This is not us asking the question, but it had to be asked here.
Brent, second row, Pat.
Kirby, Pat 40 from Sports Illustrated. You touched on the tragedy, obviously, that hit your program there, but you've had a number of traffic-related incidents since then. Are you disappointed that your players don't seem to have gotten a message from that?
I'm disappointed anytime we have traffic incidents. You know, it's very evident when you look at it. We've had traffic citations and incidents throughout the history of being at the University of Georgia. And we actually don't have more now than we've had in the past. So what concerns me most is the safety of our players, all right? And when you drive at high speeds, it's unsafe. And we don't want that to happen. We're going to do all we can to take that out and make sure that's eradicated. But I'm also smart enough, Pat, to understand and know that 18 to 20-year-olds is when this happens. When it happened to me as a student athlete. That's when speeding happens. What we want to do is take that out and make it safe and not have high speeds. If somebody's going to get a speeding ticket, it should not be a super speeder.
You know what's funny about that? I mean, it's not a funny situation because there was a tragedy, but I've said it and I'll say it again, Shane. If this was Mississippi State, Auburn, or Vanderbilt that had these traffic tickets, Pat 40, he ain't asking the damn coach about it at SEC. We have to pick Georgia apart somehow.
Yeah.
And it's not on the field. It's not the coaching staff. It's not recruiting. This is what they have to go to because they are the juggernaut of the sport right now. You know what?
Yeah.
And you get picked apart when you're at the top.
Yeah, but I like to call those Nat questions, you know. And it's like if you're out there and you're eating a burger there at a cook, you know, you got a cookout, you got a Nat. Yeah, you're gonna have them. They're gonna pop up, but you're not gonna stop eating that burger because you got these. I mean, this is where this program's at right now, where we gotta find stories. You know what I'm saying? That's basically what we're doing. Georgia is if you can't beat them on the field, try to beat them off the field. Sometimes it feels like that's what media does. And I'm not defending anything that's going on down there in Athens, but I have seen plenty of programs go through this. Alabama has gone through this. As a Tennessee fan, I've seen plenty of this. You know, they're going to find their stories and they're going to find these little narratives preseason. But when we're 4 weeks into this thing, we're not talking about speeding. We're talking about ass kicking on the field. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. And Bradley Childress wants to know, do we get him any autographs? Here it is.
It's kind of hard, you know, because first thing, you know, this is my second media days. Mike's been to a few of these, and you know me, I'm a fanboy too. I shared an elevator with Paul Feinbaum this morning. I mean, You know what I'm saying? Paul freaking Feinbaum, somebody I grew up watching and stuff, and I admire dearly, and then Mike says, whatever you do, don't get any pictures and don't get any autographs. So, yeah, I did not get any autographs. Sorry, Chili.
Yeah, maybe next year. Maybe next year. Let's kick it over to Hugh Freeze, Shane. Auburn expectations. I mean, these fans are fired up for some Auburn football. Can we win 7, 8? That's how the offseason started.
Yeah.
Then it started ramping up. Can we win 8? Oh, we got a quarterback. Can we win 9? We got this. Can we win 10? Expectations. Hugh Freeze, he's done it at Arkansas State. He's done it at Ole Miss. He's done it at Liberty. Can he do it at Auburn, Shane?
Locked on Auburn. Coach, I've heard you mention publicly before that everywhere you've been, you guys and your coaching staff has done a great job of turning around programs quickly on a timeline that's probably quicker. How do you rank the Auburn situation coming into your 2 previous stops? Easier, harder, as far as getting the timeline expedited?
If you'll permit me, I would love to. So when I took over at Arkansas State, they had never had a winning season since going FBS. And we won 10 games in year 1, won the Sun Belt Conference. Then we come to Ole Miss, and they had not won an SEC game in 2 years. And we win 7 games that year and go to a bowl game. Then Liberty moving to FBS, which I thought was probably after spring ball. I was like, we will not win a game, because and somehow we won 8 games. Now, how do I compare Auburn to that? I've thought about this question, and I honestly don't know. I would think it would be easier at Auburn, but yet the league probably has gotten better than it was when I took over at Ole Miss, and so I'm not sure that's an accurate feeling. Now, I was blessed at all of those spots to have quarterbacks that played really well. Bo Wallace and Ryan Applin at Arkansas State, and then Buckshot to Malik at Liberty. And I think that's, you don't have a trigger guy that plays well, you don't have much of a chance to turn it very fast. And so I think a lot will weigh upon how effective we are at that spot. But great question. We have had success doing that. I hope that continues.
You know, what's interesting, Shane, we talked about it the other day on our Auburn preview. It's Philip Montgomery, new offensive coordinator at Baylor. RG3, Bryce Petty, Nick Florence, on and on and on. He hit on quarterback. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be. Robbie Ashford, we're hearing some buzz.
Right.
You know, he coached up Malik Willis to the NFL. Can Robbie Ashford fits that mold? Peyton Thorne, Michigan State, 2 years ago, they won like 11 football games.
Oh, yeah.
So it seems like he's putting it on those guys a little bit. They have to perform. Obviously, they know that. But when I hear that, Shane, I hear a coach that says these quarterbacks do, if one of them can do what I think they both can do, they bring very different things. But if they can bring that to Auburn, yeah, we can have another year 1 impact as a coaching staff. What's your thoughts on that?
I like to call it ABC, always be recruiting, and that's what that felt like. That felt like a reminder of all the guys he's put into the league and all the guys he's going to continue to put in the league at that quarterback spot. And if that guy's not on this roster, he's out there somewhere, maybe listening to this clip. So I think that's the key here. When you look at Hugh Freeze's track records, the years that he's done well with the quarterback, and that's what I kind of felt like that statement was more about was, hey, we're going to find him. I just don't know if he's here yet.
Well, another thing we hear a lot about, Shane, when it comes to Hugh Freeze, he's going to get somebody.
Yeah.
Auburn's going to get somebody. So let's look at some of the schedule here. I mean, we got the non-conference. That's a joke. At A&M, that's tricky. I think it was Jesse Simonton we were sitting here with. Oh, Jimbo. Jimbo ain't going to like losing to Hugh year 1. That's one. Georgia's first true road game of the season. At LSU, at Arkansas, I'm looking, and Alabama. Shade, you already know the one I want. I want that Iron Bowl. That's the one I'm eyeing. Is there a game on this Auburn schedule, Shane, that you are eyeing? You're not guaranteeing it. You're not saying they're going to do it, but you're saying if there's one where they pull off it could be even a minor upset, but
Yeah.
they pull off an upset this fall. Which one are you going for them Auburn Tigers?
It'll be considered an upset, but I'm going Ole Miss. I think this game means more to Hugh, obviously, than maybe some of the last coaches that's come through that program. But I still think there's a good shot Ole Miss is ranked. I think there's a good shot Auburn isn't. So when you're labeling an upset, I think that would be a good one. I believe it's at home, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. So that will also help. The other ones, I said this a while back. It really depends on Texas A&M on their situation, and I'm not piling on because right now I think Texas A&M figures it out. But that's also one that I've got maybe an asterisk beside because that would be a signature win for Hugh Freeze. And I think getting that victory, you may lose a few others, but if you get that one, I think you're on cloud nine, even though they beat them last year, so.
And I want to say this, Shane, because, I don't know, we don't want to rehash the Harsin area and all that. And I remember last year he made some comments, and that was kind of cool. That was about the highlight of the Harsin era.
Yeah.
SEC football is just not the same without Auburn.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they got to be dominant or winning championships, which they have done.
Yeah.
But just being that thorn in Bama's side,
Absolutely.
Georgia's side, LSU. Their battles with the Mississippi schools are epic, and Hugh Freeze brings that. And I'm thankful that these fans are, hey, even if they're thinking pie in the sky, 10 wins, 9 wins year one, I love it. Because they're getting enthusiasm, one of the best fan bases, one of the best home field advantages in the country. SEC football is not the same without Auburn being competitive.
Again, historically, you look at teams that are always productive. It's Alabama, it's Georgia, and what's a team that plays them both, So, yes, that's why we like it because that's a three-headed monster that could go either way when they're all good. So, it makes for good viewership, but it also makes for – I don't know. It just makes for good off seasons too, something to talk about. And I think they got their guy. I really do. And I think Hugh Freeze will be down there as long as they'll allow him. And when you're looking at games, because that's been the sexy topic out there is, hey, they got him a coach that knows how to beat Alabama. Auburn's got a lot of things to do before they need to worry about that. But year 2, year 3, that's definitely on the list, man.
Well, speaking of the right man for the job, Zach Arnett handled himself very well in his first media days. They're going to be picked west. I'll tell you now. I mean, it's not just me, Shane.
Yeah.
It's everybody. It's not everybody, but I'd say 80% of the people we talk to, they're putting Mississippi State last, and it's not because they're not the Vanderbilt of the West. It's not that. It's coaching change. It's so many things. But Zach Arnett, Will Rogers and company, they're going to have a huge chip on their shoulder. And I think that's exactly where you want to be at Mississippi State. I don't think you want everybody and their mother saying you're going to win 10 games year one. I don't think you want that at all. I think you want people saying, yeah, you're dead last, you're irrelevant. We're going through these win-loss toss. They're a win for everybody in the SEC schedule. I think that's where you want to be if you're Zach Arnett and company. You want to be slept on.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you another thing too, Mike. I saw Coach Lee walk through here. I saw Zach Arnett walk through here, and I was wrong. Zach Arnett would kick the shit out of everybody in this league if it were a physical contact, sport. You know what I'm saying? So, dude's, I think he could play. I don't know how much eligibility he has left, but, I think he could suit up and get out there with them boys. I think, this is Mississippi State. Not so much a huge topic floating around, but it is one that keeps rearing its head. Why do you keep picking them last in the SEC or in the West? I apologize. And that's one of the things. It's not that for me. I think there's just question marks. I have Auburn lower than I have Mississippi State. I've not done my list, but I'm just letting you know right now. And the only reason I got Auburn is because, again, question marks. I think there's more question marks with that program than there is with Mississippi State.
Right.
I love Will Rogers. I think he's one of the most underrated quarterbacks in this country. And sometimes he's just not getting the airtime that some of these other guys are getting right now. They're going to be in an offense that's going to let loose and let him cook. And I think that's what makes Mississippi State so intriguing is that they still have firepower on that side. Yes, we lost the Pirate. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
Obviously, that was a subject that we truly miss him here, and I don't want to skim over that. But there's a lot of roster still here that knows how to put points on the board, and I think this is just ammunition. This is bulletin board stuff that they're going to be able to use, and I think Mississippi State's going to catch a few teams as well.
Well, speaking of the Pirates, Zach Arnett brought him up. I thought this was a pretty great tribute here, and I think it's. I'll kick it over on the other side and explain it a little bit better, but I think this is exactly what I wanted to hear if I'm a Mississippi State fan.
Chris Farble in KCOU 881 FM. So you spent the past 3 seasons as a defensive coordinator under Coach Leach. And Mike Leach, he's had a lot of assistants that have gone on to be head coaches. I was going to ask you, in the time you spent under Leach as defensive coordinator, what did he teach you, or what did he help mentor you about becoming a head coach when it comes to leading a locker room and leading a program?
I don't know if there's any one specific moment where, hey, he calls you in and he goes, all right, hey, listen, now you're going to get head coaching 101 lesson, right? That's not really the style. It's what you get to observe on a day-to-day basis. I've mentioned this before. There is a document that he reads with all of the staff as you go into every season, both off-season and in-season, right? Kind of your responsibility as a coach. That's what it's called, responsibility as a coach, right? And it's a career's worth of wisdom and advice on this is what you have to do as a coach if you're truly serving your players. And obviously that document, it's brilliant, but it still influences me to this day. We read it as a staff. There's a lot of wisdom in it that young coach, if you're smart enough, you'll just shut up and read it and learn as much as you can, because that guy's been pretty successful. He's done it a lot of different places, and he's won everywhere he's been.
And the reason I like that, Shane, is because I think it's real and it's genuine, and that's life. I mean, we all want quick fixes.
Yeah.
We want an instant. You read these books, how do you become a millionaire in a year or whatever? How do you lose 100 pounds in a month?
Trust me, I've read all those books.
Yeah.
They don't work.
Exactly. They don't work, Shane. And there's nothing that Mike Leach could have said to Zach Arnett in a meeting or whatever that's going to make Zach Arnett a good coach.
Right.
What's going to make Zach Arnett a good coach is the last 3 years having spent with one of the best coaches in the country, studying that man, studying how he runs a program, runs a roster, coaches the coaches, and that's what I'm getting from Zach Arnett here. So, that goes to the point of what I'm saying. Zach Arnett, ready for this challenge. He's got to prove it. You can say all the right things.
Yeah.
We've got to see it on the field, but so far, I don't see how you're anything other than completely impressed with what we saw from Zach Arnett.
And head coach in the SEC, it's tough to break through. It's tough to get that opportunity. This was an unforeseen situation, but this is a coordinator getting the opportunity to be a head coach in the SEC, and it's had success in the past. There's some. You look at Coach O, got an opportunity, wins a natty. Dabo, gets an opportunity, wins a natty. I'm not saying that Zach Arnett's going to win championships, but I am saying sometimes you don't realize what you have until given that opportunity, and now he has that spotlight. So give him a shot, man. Don't burn that bridge. Don't be thinking about the next Mississippi State coach. You got a hell of a coach. You got a hell of a defensive mind over there, and in this day and age, you're going to have to play defense, man. I think that's sometimes gets lost, and we want to talk quarterbacks and wide receivers. That's the sexy stats, but sometimes these games are won on the defensive side of the ball, and I think you've got one of the best minds in the game.
Yep. Let's look at Mississippi State's schedule real quick here, Shane. And, gotta get rid of this comment here. But, they got a hell of a lot of home games, Shane. 8 home games.
Yeah.
Including every single one of the non-conference. They get Bama at home. They get Kentucky at home. Ole Miss at home. LSU at home. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a mouthful. You're probably not going to win all those just because it's Alabama and LSU. But if you go 7-1 at home, God. I mean,
what's the over/under on these guys? I can't
6.5.
remember. 6.5. So
with 8 home games. And here's the best part. Everybody looks at the 8 home games, Shane. Let's look at the away games real quick. At South Carolina, at Arkansas, at Auburn, at A&M. I'm not sitting here saying they're going to win all those, but they're all winnable. Yeah. All the away games are winnable. Now, they're conference games, obviously. Nothing's a given, but I don't know.
But if you flip-flop Arnett and the Pirate and you give them that same schedule, you're saying, hey, out of those 4 away games, there's maybe one, the A&M, that I would have as a loss. But the other ones –
well, and Leach owned A&M, so I wouldn't even say that one.
Yeah, I mean, you can be convinced. So maybe everybody is sleeping on Mississippi State, and maybe this is exactly where they need to be.
I'll say it to Hell State right now. I know I'm sleeping on you. I apologize for that. All right, last, Shane, Vanderbilt. And, hey, how about that? Right before the news, contract extension for old Clark Lee through 2029. He's done a good job, but it's interesting that we're already talking. Well, he won 2 conference games. I mean, I'm not sitting here trying to pick the guy apart. I think he's done a tremendous job given what he's influenced, but it feels like we get a little crazy with these contract extensions, doesn't it?
Yeah, and we don't really know what he was paid or how much because he isn't Vanderbilt. So
maybe he took a pay cut.
Yeah, they may have restructured this thing just to give him a longer term. No, I'm just kidding. Coach Lee came out, I think, out of all the coaches, there's a lot of coach speak in there today.
Yeah.
But I will say this with Lee, it felt like it was a statement. Like, this is what our program is. We are going to build. We are going to develop. I mean, hell, that's how he ended the thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
We are a developmental school, and we are going to win games. And I think that's another thing. We start with Georgia about complacency. You can't get – Vanderbilt's not complacent. They're not happy until they're hitting bowl games. So I think that's the next chapter in Coach Lee's future. And I tell you what, the way he's building this thing from the inside out, they're going to do it.
Yep, and they're investing in the football program, Shane. Yeah. That's what we love to see. Here's Clark Lee talking about the renovations, about 30 years overdue here.
It's progress, and this is something that before I was the Vanderbilt coach, I was a Vanderbilt player, a Vanderbilt fan. We've been screaming for this for 30 years, and here it is. And now we get to choose to set our attitude and see the joy in the progress and to celebrate advancement and to know that in short order, Vanderbilt football will be situated at a top 15 school, playing in the best conference in the country, in the middle of the best city in the country, and with first-class, best-in-class facilities. And, you know, we're a one of one already. To me, that's just an incredible platform from which we continue to level up and build forward.
And we've talked about this, Shane. I mean, the SEC is better. Of course, maybe Alabama and Georgia fans would disagree, but it's better when there's parity.
Yeah.
When it's not 1 or 2 giants at the top and then 1 or 2 dwarves, so to speak, like Vanderbilt at the bottom. We want Vanderbilt to be a sneaky good team because you just don't want to. I mean, it's a joke, but it's true. It's almost like an extra bye week.
Yeah.
And at least with Clark Lee, you're getting a tough team. You're getting a team that gets better as the season goes on. They're winning multiple SEC games. We'll see if they can do it again. But if they win multiple SEC games this year, Shane, given this non-conference schedule, they're going to go to a bowl game.
Yeah.
Because of the non-conferences, Hawaii. Sorry, flying Hawaiian. Alabama A&M, Wake Forest, UNLV. You should beat all those teams.
Yeah.
You do what you did last year. Take care of business. Beat you. Go. All we're saying is go 2-6 in conference play. That's not that big of an ask, and that's the goal on West End. I mean, I think Vanderbilt. I'm on record saying it. I'll say it again. Vanderbilt's going to a bowl game this year. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the start of the season is going to be crucial with that. I mean, Coach is obviously saying the right stuff, and, I mean, just got paid, so I expect him to say that, you know. But the program, getting the upgrade on facilities, you know, he jokes 30 years. He was 11 years old 30 years ago. You know what I'm saying? That's how long it's been. And you're watching this. They built a whole freaking city in 30 years, you know. So it is a little bit of it. I think a black eye, if you will. It's like
yeah.
the only thing not getting constructed is over here in this football stadium. So, but again, saying the right things, doing the right stuff. Vanderbilt is not going to be favored in a lot of games this year, but they're going to fight in every freaking one of them. And a lot of that has to do with the captain here, because it starts from the top and it goes down. If you remember last year, it's a scrappy team. You know, they never quit. Even if they're losing, they still kept going. And I think that's the mentality they got to have there with these ball games, and they're going to catch some people off guard just like they did last year. And they're going to have to, Mike, to win 6.
Yep. Now, Shane, last thing to close out here. Probably should have led with this, Shane, because we saw this. We were like, my God. But we don't want to give them too much love just yet. I mean, we're trying so hard, Shane, to get on the Texas and Oklahoma bandwagon.
Yes.
But one thing I can't get on board with, Shane, look at this. This is some bullshit right here. Hordes down will be a penalty.
Golly.
The difference between a player giving a signal directly in the face of an opponent as opposed to doing it with teammates. So the SEC case-by-case basis may give teams a penalty for hordes down. Come on. We can't let Texas come into this league and dictate all this. You know what?
No, I mean, there, and I've heard it. We're going to have Texas guys on tomorrow, and I think it's funny because I've seen the Gator chomp. I've seen, you know what I'm saying? We've seen some of these gestures kind of put down throughout the years. I mean, I get it if you're going to put it in their face or something like that. Maybe flipping them off. I mean, you know, short of that, I think just about any hand gesture should be fine in college football.
Right.
I mean, put a microphone down there near the center, and you'd be amazed at the cursing and the language coming from that group.
All right, Shane. So, again, another rough start on the live show, but I think it turned out pretty well. Any thoughts as we close day 2 from SEC Media Days?
No, again, Mike, we got to talk to a lot of folks, and I'd love to give them all a shout out right now, but we couldn't. I mean, it's a list, a laundry list. And, you know, when the dust settles and Media Days is over and you're looking for a little bit of content that's not, that's not based on a timeline, jump onto our YouTube channel and check those interviews out. There's some we had some fantastic ones today, Mike.
Yeah, and we're going to use them for the show at some point, so don't think we're hiding them or anything like that. It's just with the live, it's just obviously you guys will see technical difficulties to go lower. We're not going to add to it.
We haven't stopped. We have not stopped, man. I swear I've had about 55 energy drinks today. You know, I am caffeined out. My brother gave me some. He gave me some of these healthy drinks. He was like, "Yeah, this will help you with your energy." And I do like 2 of those, and then I hit like 4 Diet Dews and a cup of coffee. So I'm withering away to nothing over here, Mike. Got to get some nutrition in me soon. People are gonna think I'm Paul Feinbaum.
We had a guest. Just a real quick. Shane had about 6 dews over here. I mean, not all. Some of them were drank, some of them weren't. And they said, "Where in the hell did you get a dew around here?" Because Shane's got a case of them upstairs.
Absolutely. I got 2 suitcases. One of them closed, the other one Diet Mountain Dew. So not a sponsor, but they should be.
All right, buddy. I appreciate you as always. I appreciate all y'all for tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right, see you guys. Go Vols.